Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome to another RPG News Roundup, this time for February 17th, 2024, where each week I take a look back at the week in tabletop, computer, and console role-playing game news and bring you the highlights. As always, we will start with computer and console role-playing game news, and I am sorry that this has become such a small section in comparison to the whole thing. I'm going to see what I can do about that. It looks like the studio behind Disco Elysium is facing layoffs, and the standalone expansion that was planned has been cancelled. Turn-based strategy RPG Inculinati has a release date set, targeted for the PC, PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox Series One, and Xbox Series S/S. It is slated for release on February 22nd. It features a secret group of figures from the medieval period who muster units of medieval-style illustrations to fight on the battlefield. Tamarick Trail, a deck-building roguelike, is set for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, and the Switch to release on February 29th. It will set you as part of a secret society tasked with figuring out what's behind a decaying world. The Thaumaturge is set to release on March 4th. Supposedly it was moved to avoid a busy release schedule in February, although honestly next month is even busier, so who knows. It is a story-driven RPG taking place in 20th century Warsaw, where you play someone who can see various esoteric beings. Then, Blade Prince Academy is set for release on March 7th on the PC. It'll have a real-time action with strategic pausing for combat system and features highly trained warriors set to protect a city from gangs, cults, monsters, and so on. Outward Definitive Edition has had its Switch release nailed down. It looks like it's due out on March 28th. This edition comes with a base game with both DLC as well as additional content, and has been out on other platforms for a while now. Neptunia, Sisters vs. Sisters Xbox release has been delayed. Initially announced for April 16th, it will now hit on May 21st. It has been available on other platforms for a while now. It is an action RPG set in the world of game industry and is part of the Neptunia series, of course. It's a side spin-off of that. Anyway, Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation Quest of Memories is set for release this summer. It looks like it'll be based on the light novel of the same name and will target the PC, PS4, PS5, as well as the Switch. Ys 10 Nordics is set for release in the West this fall. Targeted for the PC, PS4, PS5, and the Switch, it'll take place between the events of Ys 1 and 2 and Ys Memories of Calcutta, and sees Adol heading to the Northern Sea. Sword of the Necromancer Resurrection is set for release this year. Slated for the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, and the Switch, it'll be a 3D remake of Sword of the Necromancer, and looks like it's set to release before the actual sequel, Sword of the Necromancer Revenant. Lightforge Games has a game in development codenamed Project ORCS, or Orcs, set to release in early access this year. It'll be a cooperative multiplayer experience which will let players both create and play through adventures along with a built-in editor. As far as actual releases go, Banisher's Ghost of New Eden has finally dropped. An action RPG in which you hunt ghosts. It's set in a place called New Eden in 1695 where settlers are plagued by a curse. Dragon Quest Builders saw its PC release. It's a sort of construction-based JRPG wherein you craft and rebuild Alefgard long after the Dragon Lord proved victorious in Dragon Quest I. Basically, when he asks you if you'll join him, I guess the main character said yes, and that's what happened. Anyway, Caribbean Legend is an open-world RPG set in the golden age of piracy. It lets you loot cities and ships, explore, find treasures, and so forth. It's basically a bit of a redo of the old Sea Dogs to each his own, with maybe some graphical upgrades. I understand it's got the same bugs as the old one. Anyway, Arcamina, Mist of Oblivion, is a single-player hack-and-slash style RPG with some JRPG mechanics where you play Juno on her journey to clear the Mist of Oblivion. Hero Tale is an idle RPG with roguelike elements set on a medieval fantasy island. You grind creatures, gain skills and loot, unlock more maps and more difficult enemies, etc. Akumi Wars is looking to be a turn-based RPG where you build a party of bounty hunters and set forth on a quest to avoid working retail. There is a demo available. Spire Horizon is a sort of open-world RPG game where you play a skeleton exploring the world, facing off against enemies, apparently looking for your lost identity and a wife. Library Fantasy is a sort of action RPG side-scroller where you play a sorcerer working in a library full of magic where you must find its secrets and restore it to order after something has gone wrong. Finally, there's RPG Plus, a sort of virtual tabletop set which has support for character sheets, 2D and 3D map making, etc. And I will continue to mention these minor virtual tabletops because the more there are in competition with whatever Wizards of the Coast comes out, the better. And with that, let's take a look at tabletop role-playing game news. It looks like the release dates for D&D offerings this year have been released. Vecna, Eve of Ruin, is an adventure that means to save the multiverse. It will be released on May 21st. A compilation called The Making of the Original Dungeons and Dragons will have notes on original drafts of D&D as well as apparently material in the original version. It might include the original version. It's pretty well researched, it looks like. It'll be released on June 18th. Quest from the Infinite Staircase will be another adventure compilation that will be released on July 16th. The Player's Handbook for the not new but also brand new version will be released on September 17th. The Dungeon Master's Guide on November 21st, and then the Monster Manual is going to slip into next year on February 18th. Then the new third-party setting will be released on D&D Beyond called Humblewood. It will feature birdfolk player races, and it was a success on Kickstarter a few years back. I think I may have covered it already. So, but now it's going to be released on D&D Beyond. So there's that. Onward towards minor and PDF releases, there is Play with Class, the Spectral Revenant for Pathfinder 1st Edition. Available in print, it offers a class with some archetypes meant to deal with the mysteries of the afterlife. Raging Swan Press has Dungeon Backdrop, Cannibal Druid of the Scorn Forest. It is an adventure dealing with a cannibal druid and his pets, and is available in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, D&D 5th Edition, and OSR versions. The Agent is a remastered class and a new species and rule revisions for Center Space, which is based on the 3.x edition of the SRD, so there is that. Strange Ancestries, Unusual Options for Creative Players is available for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and includes 5 new ancestries, including Backfolk, deep-sea beings based on jellyfish, glass creatures, humanoids crafted from paper and ink, and sentient stars. It also includes a few new heritages, the Giantborn and the Mimic. Death Defiant is a 5th edition drop-and-play adventure set in a destructive dungeon. It has players caught between life and death, their fatal wounds still fresh and their memory unclear. They must attempt to save a shrine verging on annihilation in order to return to the living. The Pastry Witch is a 5th edition standalone adventure where you're trapped in a dark medieval basement as a small child. You must escape the grasp of the Pastry Witch, and her helper little Lenny. I'm sorry, I can't talk today. I can barely talk on a normal day, but for some reason, I'm all over my place today. It's probably the stress getting to me. Who knows? Just let me know if you see me just do word salad much more than I usually do. Anyway, the Wendigo's Curse. That wasn't me. That was me reading this damn script because I used voice to text on it. It put Wendigo as The Wind Goes. Yeah, and I didn't catch that during editing. My bad. You know what? I am totally going to leave this in. Anyway, The Wendigo's Curse is an adventure for 12th to 13th level characters. Suited for 5th edition, it has the adventurers lost during a winter storm, or they run across a druid glade, only to find a Wendigo is out hunting in the forest. Tacitus Publishing, you do not want to know what the voice-to-text did that as Chronicles of Baladris, Wrapped in Rot, is a 5th edition quick crawl, where a tavern has been cast under a shadow that drains the atmosphere from it, the festive atmosphere, not the literal atmosphere. The owner believes it relates to a hidden trapdoor discovered in the basement recently. You think? Anyway, Vampires Rising is a supplement for 5th edition vampires. It offers new vampire types, rules for playing as a vampire, a branch of vampiric magic, as well as magic items, spells, feats, etc. Slaves and Masters Intrigues in Plainhaven looks to be a 5th edition adventure that will be the first part of a new campaign. Designed to take characters nearly to level 3, it introduces them to the world near the city of Eastbank. Nightmare Nexus, Arcanum of the Abyss, and Beyond is an offering compatible with 5th edition and Old School Essentials. It offers a bestiary with 23 plus monsters with full illustrations inspired by the works of Masters of Horror. Shadow on the Bramblewood is a 5th edition plug-and-play adventure balanced for characters of levels 3, 5, 8, or 10, with guides on leveling in between. It deals with a Fey forest where a malevolent force has taken hold, and now the once peaceful woodland is rife with corruption and darkness. Dungeons of Drakkenheim is an adventure for 5th edition designed by Dungeon Dudes. It deals with a city destroyed by falling stars and turned into an urban wasteland with otherworldly magic and hideous monsters. It's designed for characters of levels 1 to 13. Time Trek Dino Dystopia is a one-shot for level 7 characters dealing with a time travel device gone haywire. I believe it involves quite a bit of dinosaurs. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Scholar's Enclave is a setting guide for another district of Ardenfell. It details an area situated between the ocean's coast and a river with various storefronts that specialize in arcane instruments. College of Storms is a bardic archetype. It offers the bard the ability to control the elements of the storms, which I would be disappointed if it didn't. The Spell Sword is a player character class for 5th edition. It's a standalone class with a full 20 level progression, a half-caster that has abilities focused on breaking out of magical bonds and dealing with magical traps. The Magician is another new class for 5th edition. It offers a student of the Weave of Magic who is capable of casting any spell they know as long as their reserves remain. The Dragon's Hoard number 39 is the latest in a 5th edition series of magazines. It includes new magic items, new class options, new spells, new monsters, and more. Master Dungeon Crawler is an offering using a compressed form of 5th edition inspired rules to provide an OSR-like system suited for dungeon crawling. Shadow Dark Hexcrawl rules looks to be a set of Hexcrawl rules for the Shadow Dark RPG. Okay, not much more to say about that. Mikkel Milson's Marvelous Magic looks to be a catalog of items and magical gifts for the Shadow Dark RPG. The Elementalist looks to be a new player character class for Dungeon Crawl Classics RPG. Full rules on playing the Elementalist, unique rules for magic, an astral winds table, a natural language spell type for pulling visions out of the environment, as well as unique equipment. Coot Damon, World Book Partials, has the Paladin class. It is a collection of materials for an ongoing OSR campaign dealing with just chivalric magical warriors. The Dragon's Hoard looks to be an adventure for characters levels 1 to 3, not to be confused with the Dragon's Hoard magazine, which I covered earlier. This one's for OSR systems. It revolves around a trio of kobolds in a village that looks to swindle and sabotage adventurers who come to slay a dragon. Gary's Appendix, Issue 4, is a zine for old-school essentials and similar systems. It offers a collection of material in a similar vein as the old AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide in a sort of haphazard manner. I don't know any of you familiar with the old first edition Dungeon Master's Guide, but it was way more eclectic than the modern ones are. Aldarian's Magic Tome is an OSR collection of random tables related to magic items, creatures, and places. Include tables for jars, flutes, transmutation mistakes, demons, various unholy and holy tracks, magic chalices, tools, talismans, crowns, spell names, places of power, etc., etc., etc. Warlords of Gavardia is an epic style setting for Adventure Conquer King system, Imperial imprint, which I need to pick up because I have not got it yet. Is it out yet? I don't even know. Anyway, this is a player reference that offers the information necessary to make higher-level game decisions. Expanded Magic Trinkets for Easy D6 is what it says on the tin. It includes a D66 list with an additional 30 entries on top of the 6 in the core rulebook. Philip Reed has Classic Dungeon Encounters, a set of 50 system-neutral encounter cards available in print that can be used for ideas when dealing with dungeon encounters, especially classic ones. The Dirge of the Forlorn Piscator is an OSR-style offering for 1st to 3rd level characters where they come face-to-face with a Lindworm. Adventures in the Green looks to be an OSR system based on or inspired by the original white box style rules and comes in 3 books with book 1 covering character creation, book 2 conflicts deals with combat and monsters, book 3 campaigns deals with writing up campaigns as well as domain rules and treasure tables and magic items, etc. Mother's Night from Schwalbe Entertainment is an adventure for mythic characters in the Thought and Memory series. It has the players battling a Weaver sent to repair the timelines only to crash into a distant era and be stranded back in a heroic age. Dark Places and Demogorgons for Old School Essentials has a selection of pre-generated characters. It includes 22 pre-generated characters with one each for the playable character classes in Dark Places and Demogorgons for Old School Essentials. Black Oath has a series of decks to be used in support of their Nathalis system, which I covered last week. Each is available in print and contains events and tables found in the core book. There's an exploration deck, a combat encounter deck, a spoils and gear deck, a map generation deck, as well as a mastery deck. Katanas and Kimonos, Sea of Storms offers a new way to play Katanas and Kimonos. It includes a water travel with new rules for character creation as well as rules for starting off your band with a boat, because you can be on a boat. The Shop of Doors is a source book for Troika that features a shop that sells dreams and nightmares ready to drink right before you sleep. Sanctioned Core Rules offers a toolbox system for multi-genre role-playing games. It focuses on challenge-driven gameplay with rules revolving around challenges with flexible life path system and more. It includes 2 sample genre setups. Nyx is an interpretive role-playing game. It is a game about fears, dreams, and inspired by dreamlike settings. Okay. Mutant Year Zero Ad Astra is a campaign module that takes characters into orbit into the solar system from a ruined world. It can be used standalone or as a continuation of the Path to Eden campaign. Star Trek Adventures Ghost in the Machine looks to be an adventure set in 2290 where a routine mission is put on hold when a strange alien system is detected from an unknown vessel adrift in deep space. Arbor Day is an adventure that uses the Cepheus engine and similar systems like Cepheus Deluxe. Set on a jungle planet, the heroes are offered a simple task: fly over an affected area and drop seed bombs where they are suddenly attacked by an unseen force and crashed into the heart of the jungle. Rift Station 8 is a one-shot sci-fi adventure available for both Death and Space and Into the Odd type systems. It features a research laboratory that has gone dark. Paranoia 404 Compendium is a collection of material for Paranoia that includes a collection of ready-made NPCs, some of the most common bots, ideas on complicated missions, a list of the 5 most wanted traders in the Alpha Complex, some in-character flyers for secret societies, and a character generation minigame. The Mask is an adventure for Call of Cthulhu set in a contemporary but fictional universe or a version of the United States. It has the investigators playing members of a federal agency tasked with fighting the supernatural. The Gloomholm Murders is available in print as an adventure for Oubliette 2nd edition. Players play investigators brought in to the wards of Gloomholm, a tight-knit community, fleeing the destruction of their entire planet and the solar system. The Sunrise Limited is a sort of train heist RPG set in 1876. You play as one of a gang hired to board a train traveling from Wyoming to California, masquerading as an English Lord's security detail. It doesn't say so on the thing, but it looks like this may have something to do with vampires or something similar. I don't know. Just going from the artwork and from the hints. Anyway, Alice is Missing Silent Fall expansion is designed to expand Alice is Missing with additional cards for new stories. Finally, there is That Is His Nature. It is a mystery for use with a public access role-playing game and has the characters venturing into the desert to discover signs of the fabled Snake Man of Degoya County. With that, we'll move on to crowdfunding campaigns. Remember that contributing to a crowdfunding campaign should be done only at your own risk. Doing so is no guarantee of even receiving a product. Mentioned here is not an endorsement, but is for informational purposes only, except when it is an endorsement, but you're pretty sure you can tell when it is. Anyway, Micro Dungeons 12 and Fairy Tales Edition from Micro Dungeons is to be another collection of small 5th edition dungeons, this time including some based on fairy tales. Each volume will include 5 one-page dungeons and at least 1 new monster per dungeon, meant to be played quickly and with an old-school feel. Laidback DM has another Shot Glass Adventures collection, this one featuring 4 one-shots with an Underdark theme, compatible with 5th edition and OSR systems. This one will include Trail of Madness, Savying Privotrian, I don't know. Anyway, Temple Fugit, and Cross of Irony, all Underdark-themed adventures, as I mentioned. And that was not my voice-to-text. That was actually, it's the Saving Privotrian is weird. Anyway. Sands of Time will be a 5th edition desert adventure suited for one-shots. Features a village which holds secrets of a treasure that can fulfill any desire. It looks like it'll include a few prequel stories as well to set the scene. A Riddle in Brass, the Spiral Keep, is to be a steampunk-based 5th edition module. It features a tower that has grown up from the grounds, filled with strange constructs from a bygone era. And didn't I already cover that a while back? I could have sworn I covered that a while back. Anyway, Sands of Time, or Sands of Fate, a Moongated Exploration Co. will be a 5th edition desert-themed campaign for characters of levels 1 to 10, set in the desert, charred by a lost magics of the gods. It is home to warring tribes of reptilians, sand giants, scorpion trolls, and so on. Necromancer Games has the Meadow Queen for 5th edition Castles and Crusades. It will be an adventure meant to be a celebration of love. During an annual celebration of love and life, something is amiss, and it is up to heroes to discover the mystery behind the celebration's past. Of Iron and Thorns, Echoes of the Eyeless Lady will be a system-neutral but standard for 5th edition scenario, featuring places from Italian history and a bit of a twist. I believe this one's solo-friendly, and these have all been based on historical oddities. Fabled Beginnings, a Mechanical Mayhem, looks to be a 5th edition series of one-shots that brings high-level play to low-level groups. This one starts a group out in the Astral Sea at very low level, for instance, and gives low-level characters the opportunity to engage in interplanar stories. Chrono Slip looks to be a setting for 5th edition and Level Up Advanced 5th edition, inspired by things like Chrono Trigger and Zelda. After the Realm's champions almost stopped a cataclysm several years ago, the land is now locked in an endless cycle of repeating the same 3 days over and over again, with a few people beginning to realize that there's a curse and break free of it and have awareness of the time slip. The Planar Codex looks to be a 5th edition player-based sourcebook, which means to take characters across the planes. It'll include many subclasses, some playable species, spells, feats, and so on. Kagejima will be a 5th edition campaign set on an island inspired by ancient Japan, and will include a multi-act story, some unique characters, maps, and so forth. Shen Battler Aurora will be a 5th edition hybrid Isekai style Isekai, right? Style RPG set in a fantasy world of materia, now a dying land. It looks to be inspired by famous anime and manga series involving transport to another world of magic. There are so many Isekai anime and manga, and I even have like other role-playing games based on them, like Konosuba and stuff, that I need to review at some point. It's been sitting on my desk for like a year now. And I do not watch those particular types of anime. I probably should. I've heard some good things about them. Anyway, back on track. Into the Depths looks to be a monster zine for 5th edition and Pathfinder 2nd edition. It will include 10 RPG monsters as well as virtual tabletop and physical editions. Epic Heroes Encyclopedia Volume 2 of Bard is a continuation of the series that looks to allow 5th edition characters to advance up to level 30. This one will, of course, focus on the Bard class. D666 will be a 6-dungeon zine for 5th edition, including 6 dungeons with 6 rooms, 6 monsters, along with other material to drop into your campaigns. Shadowspark Treasures looks to be a collection of 52 treasure cards for use of the Shadowspark RPG, inspired by Philip Reed. In line with those other offerings, it will feature a mix of new magic items and already existing gear. Pilgrims of the Goblin Road looks to be an adventure module for Dungeon Crawl Classics based on the folklore. It is to be a level 1 adventure where a caravan of pilgrims has been assaulted by fanatical goblins. It's another one I could have sworn I covered at some point. Anyway, Martian Crawl Classic looks to be a zine sourcebook for Mutant Crawl Classics RPG. It just shifts it to be based on H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. HTO Apocalypse looks to be another DCC-compatible zine, this one featuring surf punks in a drowned world in a post-apocalyptic future where the ice caps melted. You travel around the remnants of the world, raiding supply trips and having surf-offs. The Shrike looks to be a dark fantasy sandbox adventure for Old School Essentials featuring an ancient exoplanar megastructure that imprisons a god. It looks like it'll be a modular and adaptable to other systems. Songs of the Northlanders Against the Dark looks to be a micro-gazetteer zine for Old School Essentials and features the ancestral homelands of the Bjorning tribes and will feature an adventure around the cursed ruins of a keep. The Crippled Snake looks to be an OSR module for Old School Essentials suited for level 5 to 8 characters. It'll have you trying to gather support to face the monstrous masters of a peninsula. BX5 classes will be versions of various 5th edition basic classes for old school style games and include 3 new classes for the various demi-humans. Hexagram 12 looks to be an old school zine for Fantasy Trip from Steve Jackson. Nice to see that system getting a little bit of support, even if it's a trickle of support. This one looks like it will include things about magic beans, vines, various market tables, and so on. Meatheads will be a set of old school style system tools along with a mega dungeon with over 250 rooms. The system itself will include influences from such things as original D&D, but also the influences from modern systems like Troika, Wolves Upon the Coast, etc., and wrapped up in a dungeon crawler style. Dungeons and Divas looks like it'll be a Forged in the Dark RPG set in a realm where fantasy mixes with reality TV. Realms of Elgrun, Father of Nightmares, looks to be an expansion for the Realms of Elgrun RPG, a science fantasy RPG. This collection will add modules, some more lore, as well as a new raid game mode. Sluggish Moors looks to be a tabletop RPG set at the end of time. It's set to be a storytelling-focused game. It'll focus on the peculiarity of time-space at the end of the universe. Thrice Fantasy looks to be a light tabletop RPG meant to be adaptive and flexible with a focus on any style of genre or setting with simplified gameplay and character sheets. It looks like Audio RPG is meaning to put out an audiobook of Savage Worlds Adventure Edition, narrated for familiarization, preparation, and enjoyment while away from the table, or from people who can't, see it well enough to read the whole thing. I suppose that works too. It's nice to see them doing this, actually. They've done this for a couple rulebooks now. Demon Ninja looks to be a tabletop RPG set in Dark Japan, meaning to be a military horror RPG. It'll take place in a version of feudal Japan infested with various devils, brutal ninja wars, tentacle parasites, etc. Kogarashi will be a true D6 RPG inspired by feudal Japan as well. A lot of that around this week. This one will mix the honor and danger of feudal Japan with the mysterious creatures and fables. The Occult Trail will be a zine RPG set in 1911 Louisiana, where various beasts spread blight in the swamps and need to be hunted down. It looks like it's inspired by Darkest Dungeon, Hunt the Showdown, etc. Oh My Soul to the Company Store will be a social adventure for Mothership Sci-Fi RPG set in a colony on the moon of Callisto, where all working citizens have been uploaded and forked, with their minds copied away from their real bodies to various insectoid labor bodies set down to the surface to work until they die. Finally, there's Slasher, a horror tabletop RPG meant for zero prep and one shot, inspired by brutal horror films. And with that, I will call it here. This has been the RPG Crawler with my RPG News Roundup for February 17th, 2024. As always, links will be below. If you like what you've seen, remember to leave a like, comment, guide feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content. Until next time, take care and goodbye.
And if you are still watching, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my supporters, the top tiers of which are listed on the screen, without whose support I would not have been able to offer the variety of content that I have on this channel throughout the years. If you're feeling particularly generous and would like to join them, you can support the channel. There are a variety of options to do so. I have a Patreon, a Subscribestar, as well as channel memberships enabled. If you are not in a position to contribute, simply leaving a like, a comment, or sharing my videos are all wonderful ways to help the channel grow without spending a dime, and are all greatly appreciated.